Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. Before we get into today's show, I have a question I want to ask you, and it is about Paul Pogba. Do you want to see Paul Pogba back at Manchester United? We will be talking about that in a minute, but I want you to get in the comment section right now. Let me know your thoughts. Is Paul Pogba returning to Manchester United a good idea? Let me know what you think. So, this story broke last night, but there's been some murmurs about it over the last couple of weeks from multiple different journalists. We know that Paul Pogba is available to play football again from March the 1st, and there are some people suggesting that Manchester United could now go in for a move for Paul Pogba. Obviously, we know the reason why this has happened. So in the last 24 hours, we've had confirmation from the club itself that Amad Diallo is going to be injured for the rest of the season, which is absolutely devastating. Apparently, he's got an ankle injury. The season just goes from worse to worse. And if that wasn't bad enough, Manuel Ugarte's injured, Kobbie Mainoo's injured, and so is Toby Collier. So as it stands at the moment, we have no midfield. Our midfield is Casemiro, Christian Eriksen, and Bruno Fernandes. I mean, maybe that works. Maybe we go to Tottenham today and we beat them and we say Casemiro is the answer. But I just don't see it happening personally. I just think Casemiro and Eriksen in their prime were both world-class players, I would say. But their prime was 10 years ago. They don't have the legs anymore to play competitively in the Premier League. They could probably go and do it in a lesser league, a slower league where they have more time on the ball. But in the Premier League, I just think it's a no. So we are in an injury crisis again. When you look at our injuries now, right, you look across our whole team. Luke Shaw, out injured. Martinez, out injured. Mason Mount, out injured. Amad, out injured. Manuel Ugarte, out injured. Kobbie Mainoo, out injured. Toby Collier, out injured. There's probably some others that I've forgotten about. Anyone else you can think of? No, I can't think of anybody else. But then you also think, obviously, Rashford's on loan. Sancho's out on loan. Anthony's on loan. Malasia's on loan. So there's effectively 11 players who would be in and around the first team who are now either on loan or unavailable due to injury, which is mental. It's like half our squad. And it makes it look even worse that we didn't do any business in the January window. Now, I know some people will say, oh, but we signed Patrick Dorgu. But, I mean, that was one player. We let Anthony go, Rashford go, and Malacia go. We let 3 players go and signed 1. And now we've got 4 first-team starting players, Manuel Ugarte, Collier, Mainoo, and Amad, all out injured. I'm almost certain that Amad Diallo, Manuel Ugarte, and Kobbie Mainoo would be starting the game today. Would you all agree? Martinez would be starting the game today if he was available. And I'm not gonna sit here and make excuses about it. Every team has injuries. Tottenham have injuries, but Tottenham went and strengthened in the window. They bought a centre back, they bought an attacker, and they bought a goalkeeper as well. They bought 3 players in January. We bought 1. So yeah, there is no excuses for us as a fan base. But from a footballing side, the only people you can really point the finger at here are the board that thought it was a sensible idea to loan out Anthony, Rashford and Malacia and only bring in 1 player. I mean, it's just basic maths. You let 3 players go and you sign 1. It doesn't make sense, does it? You're 2 players short. And then as soon as you have an injury situation like we do now we find ourselves in this difficult position. So back to the question. We're talking about Paul Pogba. That's why we're talking about Paul Pogba, because we are now effectively short in the midfield. And there are multiple different people saying that Manchester United apparently are interested in bringing back Paul Pogba to Manchester United. How do you feel about that? Now, on the surface level, considering everything I just said, Paul Pogba seems like a great option, right? But if we're going to look at this from a more balanced perspective, let's call it, we've got an injury crisis and we're talking about signing a player who is injury prone. Okay? You look at the last 3 seasons. In his last full season, which was actually at Manchester United, he missed 52 games through injury. That was in 2022. That was the last time he played a full season at any club. The last time before that, he missed 20 games. The season before that, 19, and the season before that, 51. So in his last 4 seasons, all of which were at Manchester United, he missed 52, 20, 19, and 51. My stance on this is this, though, right? If Paul Pogba was willing to come back to Manchester United and play and have a contract that was kind of done on like a pay-as-you-play type basis, I think it would be worth considering. But, you know, if we're going to have to pay him 350 grand a week and then he joins Manchester United and is just injured, then that doesn't really help our situation, does it? So I'm a little bit 50-50 with this one. Would I like Paul Pogba to come back if he's able to stay fit and we get a prime Paul Pogba? Of course I would. He was a quality player. He was probably one of our best midfielders in the last decade when he was at his best, which was not often enough. But the stats show you that he seems to be absolutely destroyed with injuries in his career in recent years, ever since he left Manchester United in 2022 and moved to Juventus. And since then, it's just gone from bad to worse. And obviously, when you think about the doping charges, which have now, I think, been dropped, all these other things that have happened, it doesn't make particularly good reading. But as I said at the beginning, we are in an absolutely desperate position now. I've seen the travelling squad for the game today, and let me just get it up for you here. But there's about 5 or 6 youth players going today. And maybe some of you are sat at home saying, that's great. You know, I would rather have youth players go than have some of these other players, because I know there's a lot of people in this fan base who are fed up with, you know, these players who continually underperform. And I would agree, I'm fed up with them as well. But we are throwing these players in at the deep end, and, you know, it's a risk. So for the game today, Chido Obi, Seko Kone, Harry Amas, Jack Morehouse, and Eli Harrison have all travelled with the first team for the game. So we've got 5 players there who, as far as I'm aware, have never played any first team football. I think Harry Amas went on the tour, actually, didn't he, to America. But none of these players have ever, I believe, even been on the bench in the Premier League. And we've got 5 of them on the bench today. Now, maybe this is the turning point. Maybe Chido Obi starts today. Maybe Seko Kone starts today. Maybe Harry Amas starts today. And we're like, wow, why have we not used these players before? Maybe that happens. And maybe we'll be sat here at, 6:30 p.m. when the game finishes, and we'll say, wow. But it is a massive risk. A huge risk. You know, it's easy for us to say, oh, Chido Obi's the future. I'm sure he is the future, but maybe he's not the present just yet. I'm torn about this because I personally think, from a fan's perspective, and I hope most of you would agree with this, from a fan's perspective, I think we've got nothing to lose at this point. We're 14th in the Premier League. We're not going to get top 4. I don't think we're going to get relegated. So we kind of have a free pass now, almost. Oh, I've got a sneeze coming. Ooh. Yeah, we've kind of got a free pass, almost. But at the same time, we also have to consider what's best for these young players' development. You know, if they come into the first team and it doesn't go well, then is that the best option? But I mean, to be honest, now we don't really have a choice. We don't have the numbers. We don't have the option of putting other people on the bench. It's going to have to be youth players because we didn't sign anybody. Even if you look at the bench against Leicester last week, right? On that bench, you had, when you look at how young that bench was, you had Dorgu. Sorry, that was the first team. You had Toby Collier, who's injured now. You had Aidan Heaven, who will be there today. And you had, who else? So we've got Manuel Ugarte injured, Mainu injured, Dallo injured. So we've got 3 players from our starting 11 injured. So yeah, the bench is going to be pretty much made of youth players now. I imagine Casemiro will probably start today. Make of that what you will. I imagine Bruno will obviously start. But the whole of our bench will be young players. And he's going to have to rotate. So these players are going to get minutes because you can't just play Casemiro every game when he hasn't played football for 6 months. You can't play, all these other players in every single match. Otherwise, the players will continually get injured. And the biggest kind of concern for me is I think this massively dampens our chances of winning the Europa League now. I was quite confident that we'd win the Europa League. But I'm not confident anymore, to be honest. I think, yeah, it's just a shame, isn't it? A real shame, especially for Ahmad. This was Ahmad's breakout season and he's injured for the rest of the season. It's honestly just devastating. Everyone who's just joined the video, could you do me a small favour and drop a like? We've got over 200 people watching live now, which is absolutely amazing. So please do make sure to drop a like. Let's try and get to 500 likes on this video. If you haven't already, go and do that now. Joseph says, any news who will be on the bench for the game later? Well, as we said, so it's confirmed that Chido Obi, Seko Kone, Harry Amas, Jack Morehouse and Eli Harrison have all travelled. So that will effectively be our bench, I reckon. You know, you'll have those players. You'll have Altay Bayinda. You'll have... trying to work out who else it will be. I mean, the starting 11 is probably going to be this. It will probably be, I imagine, Maguire, Mazraoui and De Ligt, I reckon. I think then you'll have a midfield two of maybe... It's the midfield that scares me the most because it's either going to be Casemiro and Bruno as the two CDMs or Eriksen and Bruno. Either way, or Eriksen and Casemiro. Any of those three variations scare me. The attacking line, I mean, you've got no Mainu, so it'll probably be Garnacho. I honestly don't know. Right, let me do my predicted lineup. This is what I think it'll be. I'll start from the attackers first. I think Xerxes will probably start, and then you'll have Garnacho and Bruno as the two cams. I think Dorgu and Dalu will start as the wing backs. Midfield, I think will probably be Casemiro and Eriksen. Defence, I think will probably be Maguire, Lenny Yoro and De Ligt, and then Onana in goal. I would probably say that. I mean, it's still not a terrible team. It's not awful, but when you think that we've lost Mainu, Manuel Ugarte and Ahmad from that team, it is pretty devastating. And obviously Martinez as well, who got injured last week. But I don't know. Let me just have a look at Tottenham's team news, actually, because someone was saying to me yesterday that apparently they've got loads of players back. Let me have a little look. Okay, so this was on Friday. So it says Ange Postecoglou has confirmed that James Maddison and Destiny Udogie are in contention to return to action as we welcome Manchester United to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Elsewhere, Brennan Johnson and Timo Werner have both returned to training. Christian Romero, Mickey van der Ven, Dragusin, Dominic Solanke and Richarlison all remain sidelined. So they're still missing Van der Ven and Romero and Dragusin. So they're missing their best centre-backs. They're missing Solanke, who's their striker. But there is a chance that Maddison and Udogie start. I want to say that we still should be beating them, but I mean, I don't know what that's really based on. Our best team nearly lost to Leicester last week. Our best team lost 3-0 to Bournemouth. You know, like, this game could go either way, and I think... I mean, I'm just having a look at who Tottenham even play in their team now. Let's have a little look. So in their last Premier League game, they played... let's have a look. How's everyone feeling about the game today? I assume most people are just absolutely fed up with everything, aren't they? The last game, they beat Brentford 2-0 away from home, which is a decent result. Brentford are a good side. So last time they had Jed Spence, Davies, Gray and Porro. I mean, their defence is weak. Our defence is better than their defence, 100%. They had Bissouma and Bentancur in their midfield. I'd take Bissouma and Bentancur over Casemiro and Eriksen any day of the week. They got Kulusevski, Scott, Son and Moore, and they got Richarlison up front, but apparently he's injured. So, I mean, their team is weak, to be fair. It is weak, but their midfield, I think, is better than our midfield, and we know that games are won and lost in the midfield. It's the oldest cliche, isn't it? But Bissouma and Bentancur up against Casemiro and Eriksen. We need Casemiro to roll back the years. We need him to show us prime Casemiro at Real Madrid. That's what we need. I mean, it's probably not going to happen, but that's what we're relying on today. We need Eriksen to have a masterclass. We need Casemiro to be phenomenal. Because I'm not too scared about Tottenham's attack. I'm more just scared that their midfield's going to overrun ours and will just crumble under the pressure. That's what I'm most fearful about. Because we're not creating that many chances anyway. So it's not like, you know, as devastating as it is that Ahmad's injured and Mainu's injured and all the rest of it, it's not like we were creating 5 or 6 goal-scoring chances every game. We were struggling to score anyway. So, I don't know. I'm more just worried about the midfield because literally since yesterday, we've lost our whole midfield. And that's not an over-exaggeration. We've lost Manuel Ugarte, Mainu and Toby Collier. Those 3 players have featured the most for Manchester United in midfield this season, other than Bruno, who's more of an attacking player. So, yeah, it's a difficult situation to be in. But as I said, we still really can't make excuses because Tottenham have also got an injury crisis. Tottenham have got Archie Gray, who I believe is a midfielder playing at centre-back. They've got Ben Davies, who I don't even know how Ben Davies is still playing for Tottenham, playing at centre-back. And they've got Jed Spence, who is pretty average as well. So, yeah, I mean, Ben Davies is 31 years of age. They've got Pedro Porro, who is okay, and they've got Jed Spence, who's okay. But the point I'm making is they've got a right back playing at centre back. They've their team is all over the place as well. So I think we do kind of go in on a level playing field. But I am obviously worried about this game. I'm not confident that we're going to win. But in all fairness, I wasn't confident we were going to win before all these injuries either. Alice says Spurs will be licking their lips. A Casemiro and Eriksen midfield is Swiss cheese. Oh, it's got loads of holes in it. I get it. Yeah. Fred says, if we lose today, Tottenham will go above us in the table. Yeah, let's have a little look. So, yeah, Tottenham would go up to 14th and we'd drop down to 15th. I mean, we say that relegation isn't an option. But until we get to 40 points, I mean, anything's possible. I'm not thinking we're going to get relegated, though. I think that's a little bit of an exaggeration. You know, we play Ipswich on Wednesday at home. We should beat them. And then we've got, I mean, if you look at the remaining fixtures in the Premier League, oh my God. We've actually got some really tough fixtures. Wow. So our final 10 fixtures, right, in the Premier League is Arsenal, Nottingham Forest away, Man City, Newcastle away, Bournemouth away, Brentford away, Chelsea away, and Aston Villa at home. I mean, from those 10 games, regardless of all these injuries, how many of them do you actually think we would win? Arsenal at home, I mean, they're trying to win the title. Nottingham Forest away, they're amazing this season. Man City just beat Newcastle 4-0. They're back firing again. Newcastle away, we never win at St James's Park. Bournemouth away, we lost 3-0 at home to them already this season. Brentford away, I can't see us winning that. Chelsea away, maybe a draw. Aston Villa at home, last game of the season. So we need to pick up the wins. Today is more important than I actually have been making it out. Like, we realistically need to beat Tottenham today, beat Ipswich at home. We also play Leicester City away. Like, we need to win those 3 games. And I know that sounds embarrassing, but when I look at the rest of those fixtures, I can't see us beating any of those teams. Arsenal, Newcastle, Man City, Bournemouth. It's difficult. It's a difficult situation to be in. Yeah, it's not great. It really is not great. And when you think that we've not been beating the lesser teams either, yeah, it's a scary thought, isn't it? Really scary thought. But yeah, as Fred says, the fixtures are not in our favour. I don't know. I don't know what to think. But anyway, I'm going to wrap the video up here. I've just noticed my video is like really red. Does it look really red for you guys? I don't know why it does that. It's quite weird. But anyway, I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. I will go live straight after today's game. So make sure you drop a like on the video if you haven't already. Be sure to subscribe. I'll be back live at about maybe 6 o'clock when the game finishes. Hopefully we've won. Hopefully we've pulled off a miracle. Have a lovely Sunday.